All right, joining us now, can we welcome back Kentucky Senator Rand Paul. Senator Paul, as always, sir. So you've got a tariff resolution that would stop the president from exercising IEPA, international emergency powers, as I understand it. The president says he'd veto it if it gets to him. I guess OMB put out a circular saying it would undermine national security. What's going to happen with this thing, Senator?
Well, here's the thing is, it's about emergencies. It's about whether we're going to run a country under emergencies. When the previous emergency with Canada and Mexico, they said, oh, it was fentanyl. I don't know, are they alleging that fentanyl is coming from Sweden or Finland or Monaco or, you know, it's emergency for 80 some odd countries. And through that emergency, then they're instituting a tax, which is a tariff, without the authority of Congress. So I have two objections. One is the emergency, and then there's the economic objection to tariffs. But primarily, the debate really is over whether or not you're going to have the power of taxation originate in Congress. This is something, you know, the English fought against the king doing it. They fought for the supremacy of Parliament. And when our founding fathers did this, they said, oh, taxation and the power to destroy is such a power that we fear. We're only going to put that in Congress, and we're going to make sure that all taxes start in the House of Representatives before they go to the Senate. And so to have a president do it unilaterally, even if you like tariffs, it's really a bad way to run a country, because what happens when we get, you know, Bernie Sanders or Karl Marx or whoever the Democrats put forward? What if they become president and use emergencies to, you know, say no more gasoline or no more gasoline-powered cars, we're going to say tomorrow. So emergencies are not a good way to run a country. You need the separation of powers and the checks and balances to ensure freedom.
Well, do you think at this point, though, with all these deals on the table, that this kind of resolution would undermine that deal-making?
It would serve to strengthen the Constitution and the constitutional separation of liberties, which protects our freedom, which our founding fathers was the most important point. They didn't say, well, we'll have the separation of powers unless we really want some tariffs or we want to try to bargain over tariffs. No, it's messy to have a Congress, but the reason is it's messy is because the natural state of affairs, the natural state of liberty is not legislation, it's the absence of legislation. So to create legislation, to create taxes, is something that's typically contrary to freedom. So our founding fathers didn't want to make it easy, they wanted to make it difficult. You had to have consensus. In the Senate, you got to get 60 votes. And people say, oh, the filibuster is so terrible, it makes it hard to pass laws. But that's good if you believe in the natural state of man as being free of government and free of laws.
Well, you know I respect your views, and we're personal friends. President himself has said if it gets to his desk, he'll veto it. I'm sure that's not surprising.
Yeah, and it's not going to get there because the House has even performed trickery and magic to make sure it never gets there. It's a privileged vote in the House. The law says they must vote on it within a certain amount of legislative days. So the House declared by rule that there are no legislative days. Even though they continue to meet, they have disappeared days. They used to say that the Congress could say that night is day. Now they can say that day is no longer day. The days do not exist, and they won't count them. And so there never will be the emergency vote. So he won't even have to veto it because Mike Johnson is performing chicanery and deceit by rule. He's overturned a law by a rule, but it's a law now that ensures that emergencies go on and on. You may like this emergency, but I guarantee I can come up. What if the emergency of the next Democrat president is to nationalize the oil industry? Oil's pretty important. You could see how, gosh, it could be in our national security interest to have the government own the oil because these crazy capitalists might do anything. So emergency rule is such a bad precedent. We should not allow it, even when we like the president. And I do like the president.
I know you do. Well, I like the idea of Karl Marx running as a Democrat. I've always suspected that.
It's
Senator Rand Paul,
we'll
talk soon, sir. Thanks very much.